Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People's Show. We check the pulse of Nebraska Nation, brought to you by Nebraska Spine Hospital. So it's kind of apropos. I already had this show topic laid out and ready to go when I got the news that Adrian Martinez wasn't going to play on Friday versus Iowa. And the show topic, obviously, I've given my reaction to that. Go check that out. Go find that YouTube, omaha.com/Carriker, Twitter, Facebook. It's like everywhere if you want to go find it. Okay, but I already had this show topic laid out as is. And it's about how we need to get more out of our running backs. Now, before you bombard me with offensive line comments, yes, it does start up front. And I'm going to address the offensive line once this season is over. But the last, and this was before Adrian was announced not to play Friday, so now this, kind of transfers over to Logan Smothers, Heinrich Harburg, the two quarterbacks who are slated to play, well, definitely Logan is, on Friday versus Iowa. But here's what I had written before I got the news about Adrian. The last Nebraska quarterback to lead the Huskers in both rushing attempts and rushing yards, because Adrian has done that, not only this year, but other years, was Jamal Lord in 2003. Adrian's actually done it 3 times, 2019, 20, and 21. Okay, as we know, he's not going to be playing this Friday, but we got to get more out of our running backs. And that holds even more true now than it did before we knew Adrian wasn't going to play. Now, I want to give, pardon me, my phone dropped. I want to give props where props is due. An individual named Caden Owens, okay? Give them a follow at Owens_Caden on Twitter. Put out some stats about the running back position and how it's gradually declined in production, especially since 2018. All right, so you look at 2018. Nebraska's running back room was 7th in the Big Ten when you look at the production. All right, through 12 games, they had 1,785 total yards rushing, 6.3 yards per carry, 148.8 yards per game. It went down in 2019. Nebraska's running back room was the 8th most productive, running back room in the Big Ten. They had 1,551 total rushing yards. They dropped a lot in yards per carry average to 4.7 and averaged 129 yards per game rushing. Now, 2020, it's the COVID year. Take this all with a grain of salt. Okay, I should probably just go 2018, 19 to 21, but we're just going to look at 2020 real quick. And not every team played the same amount of games, so you got to go by averages, more so than anything else. But if you go by these averages, Nebraska was second to last in total rushing yards on the season of 520. Okay, I guess that's total yards. That's not average, okay? But, by comparison, Minnesota had 1,391 total rush yards produced by their running backs. That's almost 3 times as much as Nebraska. They didn't play 3 times as many games. Minnesota's running backs averaged 5.4 yards per carry, okay? Nebraska's was 4.3. Tied for dead last with Purdue in yards per carry in the Big Ten. And Minnesota's running backs averaged 198.7 yards per game. Nebraska's averaged 65 yards per game. Okay, Minnesota's towards the top. Nebraska was towards the bottom. And that was dead last in the Big Ten, 65 yards per game out of our running backs in 2020. Okay, COVID year, grain of salt, not good at all. But let's move on to 2021. Now, this was tweeted out a week ago. So this was through 10 games, these stats for 2021. Nebraska, again, 8th in the Big Ten, when it comes to production from their running backs. They had 1,183 total yards of rushing through 10 games. Obviously, it's less games, but the stats and the yards per carry and the yards per game have dropped. So when you look at the averages, it's dropped even from 2019. Dropped to 4.6 yards per rush and 118.3 yards per game. Okay, the last time we had a 1,000-yard rusher here at the University of Nebraska, which is crazy to say with so many phenomenal running backs throughout the course of our great history, was 2014. That's a touchdown in years ago. That was Amir Abdullah. Now, this obviously starts up front with the offensive line. Our offensive line is graded out bad. I was trying to find a nicer way to say it. I mean, it is what it is. But we got to get more out of our running backs too. Gabe Ervin started the year. He's out. Ramir Johnson, became the starter over time. We don't know if he's going to play versus Iowa. When Scott Frost was asked about Jacques Yant, he gave a great coach speak answer when asked why he didn't play versus Wisconsin. That was the coach's decision. He'll be ready to go Friday versus Iowa, which was a great way of giving no answer to a question that needed to be answered. And in my opinion, it was actually a great answer by him. From his perspective, from our perspective, it's frustrating. Where is Jacques Jean? Maybe he doesn't know the playbook. Maybe he's in the doghouse. All speculatory. Don't know. But we've got to get more production out of our running backs that will relieve stress off the quarterbacks. Whether it's Adrian Martinez or someone from the transfer portal next year, Logan Smothers, Heinrich Harburg on Friday. It does start up front with the offensive line. But the backs, we got to get more out of the backs as well. Go Big Red. Throw the ball. Thanks again to our sponsor, Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's your spine, you do not want to mess around, and experience matters. That's why you can trust the experts at Nebraska Spine Hospital, the region's only spine-specific hospital. They are the best at what they do.